Hello everyone, I'm Shirly Benedictos and these are our headlines this week. North Korea continues to top countries where Christians face most persecution. A Christian group criticizes Sri Lanka's decision to cremate COVID-19 victims. A U.S. congressional body accuses China of possibly committing genocide against Muslims. Philippine bishops back government efforts to acquire COVID-19 vaccines. The Vatican has issued guidelines for Ash Wednesday observance this year. Pope Francis has allowed more roles for the women in church. And finally, Pope Francis and Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI already received COVID-19 vaccines. And now to our stories. For the 20th straight year, North Korea topped 50 countries where Christians face the most persecution and discrimination of their faith. The Christian watchdog organization Open Doors reported that the coronavirus pandemic has helped expose religious persecution in a number of countries. In its World Watch List 2021 report released this week, the organization noted that North Korean Christians continue to face extreme persecution in every element of their public and private lives. The report ranks countries by the severity of persecution, calculated by the analyzing the level of violence plus the pressure experienced in 5 spheres of life: private, family, community, church, and national. The report said an estimated 50,000 to 70,000 Christians are currently imprisoned in North Korea. A Christian human rights group decried the decision of Sri Lanka to cremate all COVID-19 victims despite international appeals to allow Muslims to bury their dead in line with Islamic custom. Mervyn Thomas of the group Christian Solidarity Worldwide said the denial of basic burial rights only adds to the ongoing vilification of Muslims. He noted that attacks on Muslims in the country have been taking place for many years due to hatred and incitement propagated by far-right religious nationalists. Thomas described the government decision as deeply worrying, added that the policy further disenfranchises its Christian and Muslim communities. Communist authorities in China have possibly committed genocide against Uyghurs and other minority Muslims in the Xinjiang region, a bipartisan commission of the U.S. Congress said in a report. The Congressional Executive Commission on China said new evidence had emerged that the Chinese government and Communist Party have taken unprecedented steps to extend their repressive policies. A report released this week said the human rights abuses were more evident in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, where new evidence emerged that crimes against humanity and possibly genocide are occurring. It is estimated that up to 1.8 million Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, Hui, and other minority groups have been arbitrarily detained in a system of extrajudicial mass internment camps, said the report. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines has expressed support for the government's efforts to acquire COVID-19 vaccines and for prioritizing poor communities in its deployment. The bishops commended the national government for considering the poor in the national vaccination program. A pastoral statement issued by the Office on Bioethics of the Bishops' Conference said the poor, who are beloved of the Lord, should be protected. The bishop said the vaccines will only be able to end the pandemic if enough people are vaccinated, so they called on Filipinos to be immunized when the vaccines arrive. The Vatican's Congregation for Divine Worship released this week a note laying out the procedures that priests have to follow during Ash Wednesday observance this year. The Vatican office noted that the health situation caused by the coronavirus pandemic has forced changes even in the rituals and celebrations of the Church. The guidelines urged priests to bless the ashes and sprinkle them with holy water in silence. After reciting once the formula found in the Roman Missal, the priest cleanses his hands, puts on a face mask, and distributes ashes to those who come to him, or, if appropriate, he goes to those who are standing in their places. Pope Francis, in another step toward greater equality for women in the Catholic Church, issued a decree allowing women to serve as readers at liturgies, altar servers, and distributors of communion. The Pope formalized what already has been happening in many countries for many years. With a change in the Code of Canon Law, however, conservative bishops will not be able to block women in their diocese from these roles. The Vatican stressed that the roles were essentially distinct from the ordained ministry and were not an automatic precursor to women one day being allowed to be ordained priests. Pope Francis and Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI have received the first dose of vaccine against the new coronavirus. Both the 84-year-old Pope and the 93-year-old former Pope got their jabs as part of a Vatican vaccination program that began on January 13. The Vatican, the world's smallest state, began its COVID-19 vaccination program this week, prioritizing doctors, other members of the Vatican Health Services, and the most vulnerable. Pope Francis is among those most at risk of the disease because part of one of his lungs was removed following an illness when he was a young man in his native Argentina. Pope Benedict is frail and suffering from a number of ailments related to old age, such as arthritis. And that's all for this week. I'm Shirly Benedictos for LiCAS.news, your independent Catholic news source in Asia. For more stories, you may visit our website and subscribe to our YouTube channel.